Alrighty, so we're rolling. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rebecca Murphy. I'm a resilience coach for Silver Hill Hospital, and I'm going to be sharing a workshop today on motivation and goal setting. So I'm just going to switch gears here. Move things around. There we go. All right. So again, welcome. I'm coming to you from, well, my humble living room, but the Community Resilience Campaign at Silver Hill Hospital. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Let's understand a little bit about what impacts our motivation and learn how to create some new habits as we develop a goal achievement plan that's unique to each of us. So what is motivation? This is the reason any one of us has for behaving a certain way. And this is really important when it comes to our motivation because certainly as parents, we need to have focus and be fervently dedicated to our physically and emotionally demanding job as parents, as well as any professional route that we might go. We need energy. We need drive to perform consistently day in and day out. And we need empathy and integrity as we handle difficult situations within our families and also in our professional lives. So, motivation is really a huge driver for us. So here's why we really do what we do. Motivation exists on this continuum. So many of us are used to extrinsic motivation. That's when our actions are going to yield some kind of external reward. I work 50 hours at my job and maybe I get a pay raise within 3 or 4 months. I do something again and again and again, and I gain access to some external thing. I get a badge, I get money, I might get points towards something. But we see this shift towards reward and punishment, which also you'll see along the bottom. So in this world of reward and punishment, it can work, but it is not consistent. And this is why, especially we might use it with children. You get an A on a test, you get a sticker. If you are rude or disrespectful to your teacher, you might get a detention. The problem with reward and punishment is that it has to involve something that that person wants more or much less than the goal that you're trying to convince them to reach. So again, it's very inconsistent. Moving to the right, we see shame and guilt. This also has about a 50% effective rate. And this is where we give people guilt trips. We try to make someone feel bad about their decisions as a way to motivate them to see things from their perspective your way. Or we shame them. We make them feel less than they really are for not complying. And it works, again, if that person values or respects you more than the goal, but it doesn't last well long term. So we need to, again, move to the left towards this intrinsic motivation. And this is where we start with valuing certain behaviors. How do we do something for enjoyment and purpose, but certainly we enjoy doing this purposeful action. You are interested in doing the thing itself. I know that working out regularly, lifting weights and running, it's going to keep me healthy, but I also enjoy the types of activity that I do. So it's very closely tied to your feelings about yourself and your own capabilities. This way, you don't need to rely on someone else's opinion to tell you how you did. You know in your heart that you love and appreciate it. So we need to look at finding value in behaviors, and this provides the long-term framework for long-term motivation. And we need to convince ourselves that the behavior that we're about to engage in is ultimately worth it. Again, moving to the left, self-identity really pulls from intrinsic motivation, and it's the most successful motivation. It's consistent, it's long-lasting, you believe wholeheartedly in your goal, and it's very much part of who you are. So for me, within my family, maybe I worked really hard at being a better healthy eater prior to having kids. And now that I have my kids, I eat healthy and I also incorporate my children into cooking with me, cooking dinner for the family or cooking meals in bulk on the weekends. And it's really become part of who we are as a family. So I challenge you to consider what kinds of activities are you engaging in that help you build your self-identity. And if you're not sure, then maybe it's time to start considering what you could be doing. So what impacts our motivation? These four bubbles really have something to do with not just within our family structure, but also in our larger world where we're engaged in whatever work role we might have. So recognition. Do you feel like you're going unnoticed for the effort you're putting in? Job satisfaction. Do you feel like you're really reaching and supporting people, whether it's within your family or at work? Do you have a sense of purpose? Do you feel like you're trying to work a little bit each day towards some kind of long-term goal that is both personally meaningful and makes a positive impact on the world? Organizational culture. Is the organization, whether it's your family that is the organization, or is it the place that you work, are you living in your values and your beliefs? And do you have certain rules that guide your behavior? That's really, really important because all four of these things, excuse me, really impact our behavior and our motivation. One thing we're going to need that helps to motivate us is effective praise. And when someone acts the way you were hoping they would, you praise them. And that way they repeat those things. So rather than just saying, great job, good job on this thing, a fist bump or a high five, you elaborate just a little bit more. Tell them what it is that you appreciated. This voiced appreciation is really important to your family as a team and it's important at all levels of the team, not just from the top down, but everyone should get comfortable with giving praise. Kids can absolutely praise their parents. And we want to focus on those four things that you see in bold: behavior, skill, attitude, and effort. And I have some examples when it comes to effective praise in families. So, what does your base look like? So, for behavior, it can be something like, I saw how patiently you waited for your turn. It was really respectful and kind. Or you stayed calm when your plans had to change. That helped everybody stay relaxed. I'm really proud about how you handled that. Maybe attitude. You started today with such a great attitude. It really helped the whole family have a smoother morning. Or even when things didn't go your way, you stayed kind and didn't give up. That shows a strong heart. So I don't need to read all of them, but they're certainly there. A screenshot is really, really helpful in case this is something that you want to try and draw on later. Effective praise is going to be really essential in your family system. Oh, it went too many. Coming back. So this theory of autonomy, competence, and relatedness, we actually use the acronym CAR, C-A-R. We have this theory that pushes that in order for any of us to be successful, they need these three things. I need to feel competent. This is the feeling that someone has when they know something really well, particular content. I know how to wash a car really, really well. I know how to fold laundry. I know how to draw, but there are certain things that I know really, really well, and I can perform well at it. And I'm also willing to take feedback and pat myself on the back when I make great strides and I have certain accomplishments. Autonomy is me making good decisions that impact myself and others without other undue influence. So, do I have to ask others' opinions? Yes or no. If I'm not sure of how to solve something, I could reach out when I'm struggling. Do I engage in supportive behaviors like goal setting or setting boundaries? Do I have the confidence to do that? And then finally, relatedness. This is that relationship component. Are you actively communicating and collaborating, or are you just hopping on to your tech? Are you on your phone or watching YouTube and not really paying attention to the world around you? Because we as humans really have this drive to connect with one another. So we need certain techniques. How can we shift our behavior? And there are three things that we can do that will really help us and maintain this motivation. The first is goal setting and planning. So am I setting realistic goals and then coming up with a plan to achieve those goals? We'll talk about that in just a minute. Am I using effective time management? Am I wasting time in my day? Many of us are getting caught up watching videos on YouTube or Facebook or just doom scrolling, and it's taking time away from what we could be focusing on. So, what does effective time management look like for you? And then there's the development of healthy and consistent routines. We need them as adults, and kids absolutely need them. It gives us a sense of security and it helps combat impulsive behavior. So we need goals and we need habits to support them. So the difference between goals and habits are something like having your GPS system to guide you where you need to go. Goals are the things that you want to accomplish. That's where I want to go. That's my destination in my GPS. I want this thing. It's future oriented. And then I can align my particular habits, my everyday behaviors and routines to support the goals that I have. So this can be a healthy power down routine every night, checking my healthy or unhealthy eating. I'm going to give up looking at my social media accounts before bed. But these are the kinds of things that you need to engage in often. Eventually, it will become unconscious because it will become part of a routine, but we know that it's going to take an average of 66 days to form a habit, but really it could take us up to almost 250 days to make sure that we have this ingrained in us. So we can support things for ourselves like habit stacking. We can do two things at the same time. So something like brushing my teeth and going over my schedule for the day. But habits really need to have some kind of a cue. So an alarm goes off that triggers a routine to start, and then I feel or I receive some kind of a reward after that. So, why aren't we achieving our goals? What's getting in our way? It's mainly these things. I don't have the time. I haven't made it a priority. Maybe a cheat day that I had turned into a cheat month. Stuff gets in the way. I'm busy with work. I had to work late. My son had soccer practice, but things become too challenging. Maybe I lost interest, or I just don't have the resources to achieve my goal. There could be other things, but these tend to be the main things that stand in the way. So we have to work on setting ourselves up for success. And in a family environment, it could be a couple of these things. So do you have a daily routine around when you're working, when you're resting, and when you're playing for everybody in the family? Do you have a quiet space for focused tasks? That could be for anybody in the family. It could be a cozy corner or a particular chair, but there are not going to be any distractions, and that's a place for work to be done, for homework to be worked on, that kind of thing. Do you have visible goal charts to track your progress? Do you have something on the wall indicating how much money you're saving for a family trip? Do your kids have behavior trackers to monitor good behavior and reward them for that? You can utilize simple tools like calendars and timers, and that helps to build in consistency and time awareness, especially for kids. So kids know what's coming, what day it's coming, what time it's coming, and they can also track how long they're engaged in an activity, like being on a screen. That can get limited, and kids learn what the routine and the expectation is. And then, of course, we celebrate whatever the small wins might be. You share kind words, you high five, you share a treat together. whatever it looks like for your family. But those are some things that can help you be successful in a family setting. Whatever goal might be that you have, you need to write it down, and then you need to consider, what are the obstacles in my way? I'm going to tackle them one at a time. We're going to process that in a minute. And then we check in with ourselves daily, weekly, or monthly to see how the progress is going. And I can check in with what I'm writing on, but I can also share this with an accountability partner. So who am I chatting with to let them know, hey, this is the big project that I'm working on, and these are the actions and responsibilities that I tackled today. I need to give it my best effort. And in practicing this accountability, this sets you up for future success, whether it's in the workplace, with your family, or with other life commitments. And if you fall short, you don't abandon the goal, you just plan over. So if the plan doesn't work, you change the plan. But if you still really need that to hit that goal, you should continue to focus on it. So we like to endorse something called SMART goals. The SMART stand for specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound. So if my goal, for example, is to save $500 for my child's future needs while learning some essential budgeting skills, I need to figure out how I am going to make that happen. It seems a little overwhelming at first. So I might engage in something called mental contrasting. This helps me to just clarify what the goals are and help me achieve them. What is my why? And then what's getting in my way. So I want to look at the positives of attaining my goal, but also recognize there are going to be challenges and obstacles that get in my way. But then I can work on being prepared to tackle them, to ask for help, or to realign my behavior and my expectations. So here's the planner. Here's the big idea. And then there's the 5 steps to getting there. So if the big idea is to save $500 for my child, step 1, I need to get specific. This is where I create some kind of a monthly budget and I open a savings account if I haven't done that already. So with my budget, I have to look at what money is coming in and where's the money going when it leaves, bills and expenditures. What does that look like? Step 2 is where we make it measurable. How will you do this thing? Are you going to write it down? Are you going to use an app on your phone? Are you going to track something on a web page? Where are you going to monitor this behavior? Step 3 is when we make it achievable. We write down these small steps to success. So it's things like cutting back on non-essential spending. Maybe I'm going to get a part-time job, or my 15-year-old is going to work some odd jobs in the neighborhood, raking leaves or mowing lawns to help pitch in. It's whatever those small steps are that you're taking to make it happen. Step 4 is where you make it realistic. Just consider, what kind of time do you have in your day? What resources do you have access to? What are your family commitments? Are there kids that need to go to soccer? And where are the finances that pay for certain things? How much realistically can you set aside every week? And then step 5, you give yourself the timeline. So I'm starting this coming Monday to set the money aside. And I want to have the $500 set aside for my child before they turn a year old on November 15th, whatever it might be. But set those start and finish dates. That way you know the timeline that you're working with, and you can make this more achievable and make adjustments if you need to. So this is what the goal worksheet would look like in the event that it were blank. And this is where you can fit in your own goals. So what's your big idea? How are you going to get more specific, make it measurable, make it achievable, make it realistic, and do it within a timeline? So this is where you can take a snapshot, or you can write this out on your own, make it workable for you. But this is especially helpful for families, not just on saving money, but any kind of goal that you might have. I just wanted to briefly share my references. We put a lot of time and energy into creating these workshops, and we hope that they're beneficial. And finally, a thank you. So if you have any additional questions, please reach out to resilience@silverhillhospital.org. We would absolutely love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening in today.